Great. So, welcome, Christopher,
Thank you so much.
to our Horizon Deep Tech podcast here in Madrid, live almost on the floor of the
Of course,
convention
that's
itself.
amazing. Congratulations.
Build a makeshift podcast studio in the middle of everything here. So, we invited you to join your podcast to tell us a little bit about what you're doing, what the company, organization you're here with us are doing, the journey you guys been on. But before we dive into this, could you maybe walk me through a bit of your personal background, educational background, where you're from, where did you study, what did you study, and how did you end up in where you are today?
Okay, do we have enough time?
In short words.
Yeah, and not because of what I have to say, but my age. You've been through so much. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me, for considering me. My name is Christopher Mueller. I was born in Guatemala, in Central America, so very common last name in Guatemala. No, my family is German. It's a bit of a mixture, and I grew up in the US and in Italy. Traveled a lot, went to 9 different schools because of always moving around. Not because I was bad in school, but I wasn't good either, but because of moving around so much.
Yeah.
And when I graduated high school, my father was German, but I never met him because he passed away very early, and so it became my only goal and dream. My grandfather set me up for that, and so I moved to Munich, and that's where I've been living for 30 years now. I studied business administration. When you don't know what to study, you go to business. I'm very happy that I did because I immediately went into sales, which is something that I like to say that I can do very good. I was mainly focused in strategy and negotiations, and went from real estate to funds, stocks, everything that is financial, and then moved to software and services near the end. I now have, together with what I'm doing now, I've been working as a consultant for companies. So I take their sales teams and depending on the situation they're in, the level they're in, do team events, bring them together, motivate them, teamwork, and then a lot of one-on-ones during the year to support them in a very, very complex world. Being in sales is not easy. It is very rewarding, very rewarding. I think if you're in sales and you're not enjoying that, then you're in the wrong place. Obviously financially as well, but also from the person, because from my perspective, a salesman is someone who likes to help people in general. And that's what you do. You're helping a customer find the right solution, add the right product, find the right service, the right people, whatever you do. And that's my view. I do it. People ask me, why do I do sales? It's because I love helping people. And this brings me to what I'm doing here today. And RDC Systems, we're entering the drone ecosystem. And we had a lot of military and defense representatives, and that was the main purpose for coming here today. And I'm very grateful for Futuro Perfecto and the platform they've created, because I have to say that this event has been a true success.
Oh, wow.
Personally for me, and from the feedback that I've heard from others while we're speaking, it's growing. It's from last year to this year, the numbers really exploded for them. But I'm extremely happy of the 2 days so far, and we still have half a day. So
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to that.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So you had a long journey as a sales career and consulting career, and now you're with RDC Technology, doing drone technology for military and defense purposes.
Correct.
So how is walk me through a bit about the company and how you differentiate from other drone companies and stuff like this. So what's the inspiration behind it, and how did you become where you are today?
Yeah. The inspiration is that maybe before I continue, this is important for me at the beginning that you tell me a bit about your listeners, so that I adapt my approach to make sure that I'm being understood by who I'm talking to. So if you just give me a quick intro on that.
So the podcast is broadcasted basically on all major platforms,
Okay.
and published by or distributed by Future Perfecto as well.
Hmm.
So the listeners is the ones who are interested in defense tech
Okay.
and in your area of expertise.
All right. Thank you. So for me, I'll tell you a little bit of a private story that led me to where I am today. And um, I go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m., 5:30, get in the car, drive down. It's only a 15-minute ride. Um, but then while I was driving, I saw to the side my wife was sitting next to me, and she's crying, And I'm like, I turn to myself, I see her crying. I know, okay, trouble. What did I do this time? And I couldn't come up with anything to her, so I asked her, what's going on? And she goes, you haven't seen the news? And I go, no. And I go, well, Russia attacked Ukraine today. And that was in February 22. And she's Ukrainian, so it's very personal. And obviously, it was an amazing, shocking situation. To give you a bit of feedback, I lived in Moscow for almost 2 years and in Kiev, so I know the mentality. I think it's really relevant to understand what we're facing now. Many, or us Europeans, don't really think about that, which has put us in the situation we are now, which is not a very good one, but we'll come to that later. And then, so that's, but I've always been into the strategy of things. I always think, okay, why are they doing this? Why is this happening? And I go really deep into the analysis. And through my private life, I know some race drone pilots that are some of the best in the world. And seeing that and what was going on in the front line and the innovation that they've done, which is incredible, got me. One of them said to me, we have really, really good drones and we have amazing technology here in Germany, but our problem so far has been we haven't been able to commercialize it, like how to bring this to a real business, because we've had offers, we've had talks, but it's never worked out. And since that's basically what I consider my specialty, or where I'm really good at, that's how things came together. And at some point then we decided to start building an organization. And the idea was initially, obviously, creating the perfect drone for the current situation. The thing is, what is the perfect drone, right? And what is the difference between you and all the other drone builders? Because there's a lot of, I'm telling you, I know a lot of people, and they're extremely good at what they do. They can come up with an idea and have it testing within 4 days. And it flies really fast, and it does amazing things. So we have that, and I'm like, okay, if we have that, why hasn't it worked? Why do people don't recognize it and invest in this opportunity? Because our main problem is we don't have enough of that. And so what I've been doing now is putting together the proper team, because the only thing that's going to differentiate you from other drone builders that do the exact same drone with the exact same components and have the exact same challenges is going to be the people that are around you that are going to make everything strategically better for investors, for customers, and so on. So what I've been doing recently is we've had the engineering side, make sure the drone flies, make sure the drone fulfills the requirements of current flight necessity at the front line. We've covering that. We had to fix the military insights, and we have an ex-special forces from the UK that is part of our team, and he is guiding us in the entire process of from design to flight to requirements to strategy to way of communicating with the military, which is a completely different language and a completely different, especially procurement process. We have the political side, meaning we have high politicians in Europe that apologies.
No worries.
High politicians that will open the doors for us once we are ready to go out, which should be by the beginning of next year. And then, well, I am in charge of the commercial side, and then we have another really important part, which is the AI, the technology that is a dream for all of us to have in something like interceptor drones that is at the moment not existent. Some people are advertising that they have it, but I was last week in Zurich with the main head of AI for Europe. We're lucky to have him. You have no idea. He's one of the best in the world. He's Italian. Davide Scaramuzza, who was the first one to beat the world champion in racing with a drone, with an AI, completely AI flown. That was a couple of years ago as well. Amazing results, obviously an amazing team behind them. We're looking into integrating someone that can help us in that area. And since the last 2 days, there's been people coming up to me wanting to share their technology and use it in our drones. So that's basically the situation we're in now. We're waiting for another couple of weeks to make our strategic decision on how to go out into the market. And that's why I'm saying by next year we can get started. But it was important for us to understand from the investor's perspective, what are the requirements, what are the processes, what they look for, like how do they differentiate when you have 10 drone building companies? Which one do you choose if they're all doing the same thing? Like where is the difference for them, and how do they decide on who they invest in? So that's basically the situation we're in at RDC Systems. But like I said, after this 2 days, I'm really happy to go home and start all the strategic talks, especially with our military side, which is going to be extremely relevant at the moment, and hoping that we can bring the drones to the front line currently to be tested.
Yeah.
So it's an ambitious project, but it's, since this last 2 days, realistic now.
And it is the future of warfare and defense tech, drone. It exists already, but
Yes.
it will be more and more.
More and more, and
future.
probably in ways that we don't know yet. But I think, yes, you cannot plan your military strategy anymore without this amazing innovation. And for that, we have the Ukrainians to thank.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the future.
Unfortunately, some of the biggest leaps of advancement in technology throughout history have come through war.
Yeah.
In medical fields, in science fields, in engineering, in mechanical. Usually, unfortunately, it happens in wars. We had a huge breakthrough during the Second World War and stuff, also in medical fields, based on horrific stuff, of course. But this allows you to develop the drone industry as well, the Ukrainian war.
Yeah, I wish that wasn't the case, really. Yeah. I loved going to Kiev. I don't know if you've been there. Beautiful city, people, great. Obviously, you have to understand the mentality. It's not, you can't think Spanish and then go to a different country. But it definitely gives us the opportunity. And I don't, like I said, what I want to do is help. And I say, if I saw how all my drone building friends were struggling, and it's like, okay, I can help here, and I can actually make a difference if we make it big. So yeah, that's something really nice. But the problem is, like you're saying, you need something bad to happen for us to open up, and that's a part I don't get. And this, I'm very disappointed in all of our politicians in Europe. I'm not just criticizing. I'm just saying we didn't have to let it come this far. And maybe the main message that I gave yesterday in the round table is the sense of urgency in Central Europe is almost non-existent, and it's really, for me personally, I get goosebumps. It's alarming because we think this is not going to happen, and I don't see a reason why Russia would want to stop what's going on, even with this peace suggestion.
You don't think that maybe the entire continent of Europe is still scared of after the Second World War? So going in from a NATO nation into Ukraine and supporting them would basically mean a Third World War. And I know it is kind of an official Third World War, as we have all
Yeah.
the classic supporting. You have the US supporting, Euro, stuff like this, but there's not boots on the ground. And this is what keeps it from being classified as a third world war. But don't you think people are afraid? And this is why the countries that are the furthest away from Ukraine goes like, yeah, hey,
It's their
not my problem.
Yeah, not yet.
No.
Definitely, but that does not excuse not taking action and being prepared, because it's like if you don't know how to swim, but you live near the ocean, or if you don't know how to swim and you're in the boat, it's like, what are you doing in the boat? You know, and that doesn't excuse the fact that you didn't see the possibility that it may happen that you're in the water and you're gonna have to learn to, or like, survive. And I'm not saying to attack, because then that's what you're saying, like putting boots on the ground. I'm saying you don't have to attack. The reason why Russia had no problem attacking Ukraine is because they know Europe have nothing. Nothing. And NATO itself at the moment, for every bullet NATO can shoot, Russia can fire 4 at the same time, today. It's that, for me, I don't want to attack. I don't want war, definitely. But if they were attacked, like, we don't, I thought we were between 30 and 60 days we can defend ourselves. And yesterday I heard from a military man of 30 years that is in the front line and comes back all the time, he's European, telling me 3 to 6 days, tops. That makes me worry as a civilian. It's horrible to understand, because don't forget, the main people who suffer the most is the civilians.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, yes, the front line, but look at what's happened to all the people that have had to leave
definitely.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
And
Yep,
so for me, having that fear of that doesn't excuse you not being prepared, because otherwise we might not be in the situation we are now.
No. Yeah, definitely. And sometimes a good defense is the best defense is a good offense.
At least having it, making people know you have it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we Europeans, like you're saying, and we've lived in this, I was talking about it today in the panel, amazing 30 years, if you think about it. It's really a beautiful life, and this is exactly the life that I want to have. But the rest of our environment doesn't have the same ideology that we have, right? And yeah, unfortunately, this takes us to innovate, and it's going to take us, the good thing is maybe 10, 20 years down the road, we're going to be so much further forward, which is going to be great. But yeah, for me, why have to go through something like that, you know? And unfortunately, if we were all peaceful, it would be the perfect world. But
Yeah. But it's also a fine line of how do you keep up your offenses, your defenses, your military spending without it turning into another Cold War.
yeah,
Because we up our military, the enemy, the other side, up theirs as well.
yeah. It's
And
a
at what
vicious
point does it
circle.
turn into a new Cold War? So there's a fine line, I believe. And if we, in Europe, we decided we will not invest in war anymore. We will invest in peace. Unfortunately, this is what has left us vulnerable now to someone who didn't care about what we have been thinking here in Europe.
Who never has, by the way.
Yeah,
And we're still...
he's been so good at playing the game for as long as he's been.
And
on
there's
the
no rules.
position.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
we Europeans, we follow rules.
Yeah.
And you can see that they do not follow rules, and war has
Because they make
zero
their own rules. Yeah, exactly.
And we are in our own way. And I hope, I mean, if the message that I wanted to give yesterday is sense of urgency. Unfortunately, we need it. There's no way around it, unless we say, okay, we're just giving up, but then we can't complain of what's coming, you know, because let's say, I hope it really never happens. I hope it's just, like you say, just a fighting of who has the biggest weapons, if you want.
Yeah.
But how do we know? And if you ask people in the Baltics, go ask them how they feel. Their sense of urgency is way higher. And I don't know if you've ever been to, I've only been to Latvia, but it's one of the most beautiful places in Europe.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And they also enjoy an amazing life and great people.
Well, I'm from Denmark, and
Okay.
and we actually do advertise a huge sense of urgency in Denmark.
You see, in Germany we don't have that. Non-existent.
Because it is the story is that the Russians helped bomb the oil the gas pipeline in the North Sea and have been sending hacking attacks to Denmark as well and drones as well over airports in Denmark and stuff like this. So we actually have a, but then they go out and say, okay, we will up anything military spending. We don't need to ask, we just buy.
Yeah.
But we don't know where all our bunkers are. And it is true.
Yeah.
They don't know where they are. So now these days they're trying to find them.
Okay. Oh, they're actually. Oh, I thought you mean that civilians didn't know. And
No,
they're
the
teaching
military.
Them, but the military.
The government doesn't know where all the bunkers necessarily are, so they're trying to dig them out now.
Okay.
And seeing if they even work.
Okay. Wow.
Because there's not been maintaining them or anything like this.
So you have to put them up to date as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, there's so many. When I was preparing for the speeches that I had, it's so alarming, and it gets me thinking so much of. And it's not one area, We're talking here about creating defense weapons, and I'm thinking about the human beings that are actually the most important. And everybody's talking about weapons. Like, you need to make sure that the mentality is there for what may come. Hopefully it doesn't, but what may come. And I'm telling you, the only reason where I was just speaking to a military person 5 minutes before I came to you, and I lived in Moscow, like I said, and one of the reasons why there's no problem is because everybody's behind it. Yeah, and the same goes, how does Ukraine defend so strongly against such a big adversary is the people are behind it, and you know how we Europeans are. You know how many people are going to be against war if anything happens.
Yeah.
That's not going to help either. So you have to sensibilize. Because people are afraid, yes, definitely. That's why if you sensibilize, though, it's a bit easier to understand the situation you're in. It doesn't mean you're going to be for it. I don't think any of us are.
Yeah.
But that would be extremely important to take civilians, educate them in all the different areas that have to be considered, because it's extremely necessary for, like I said, hopefully something that never happens.
Yeah, definitely. So, unfortunately, we could be speaking for days.
Definitely, yeah.
About defense tech, and would have loved to address the future in AI in defense tech.
Yeah.
But we will have to take that up on another day because we actually ran out of time.
No worries.
Yeah.
Perfect. It was a pleasure talking to you.
I'm so happy you joined us, and thank you so much for joining. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day here at Horizon Deep Tech in Madrid.
And you as well. And by the way, my wife and I got married in Copenhagen, and we love it. We love it. So we look forward to coming to visit you someday.
Please let me know if you come to Copenhagen one day.
Okay.
So thank you so much for joining.
Christian.
All right, bye.